Hello friends, welcome back. This is Angular Developer Series. We are building e-commerce web application and this is episode 6. In this video, we are going to take a look at the complete lifecycle hooks of Angular components, input and output decorator. So without delay, come let's get started. Let's take a look at the quick demo. You see this, we have this home component where we are displaying the multiple product list, and if you click on the shop, currently we are showing the products, but if you look at in the left side, I've added something called price. The price is something that you put some numbers and it gets filtered, and see, you can see the changes happening instantly, and the count of the products that's been filtered is also showed, right? So these two are nothing but the input and the output, how the parent and their child components are communicating and how we can make use of these two decorators. So that is what we are going to see, and then completely the lifecycle hook of a component, because they play a major role. So to check the lifecycle hooks, go to this angular.io/guide/lifecycle-hooks, and here the Angular website will tell you about a different lifecycle of a component and also how it getting responded. Like I've said in several videos, this is the time that we can talk about the lifecycle hooks. See the several lifecycle hooks, and it's a sequence of events. Actually, we will be taking a look at how the sequence is executed, and one of the last one will be the ng on destroy, when the components are completely wiped off from the place. Like when you navigate away from a particular route, if the components are going away, that's when the last one gets executed. All right, so how do we do that? Let's open up the code and follow along with me. The previous code will be the episode 5, so you can download the completed one and follow along with me, or you can also take a look at the completed code. So now under the products, under the shop component, so you can specify saying implements followed by the lifecycle hook event. The first one that we will take a look at the ng on init, right? So if you put ng init, then it will force you to implement the interface, which is this ng on init. Okay, similarly we have on changes and several other things. Similarly, you can also pull up the code, and what I'm going to do is now, all right, so let's create a constructor. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is in the constructor, this will be the first one to initiate, and then followed by the lifecycle hooks. So in lifecycle hook perspective, ng on change will be first, ng on init will be 2, but I'm going to copy paste all the life cycles here, and then I will quickly import everything, and then I'll also use this editors feature to implement all the unimplemented interfaces. See, that's how this all things comes, but I don't want to throw any error. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace all of this code with a console.log. So when it executes, we will see some logging coming up in the console. So let me copy this, paste this, nothing else. I didn't change anything. I just added console.log and followed by the number, so you know what is fired first. Okay, so the constructor will be first, followed by the lifecycle hook. So we are on the page on the shop. Let's go and click on the developer tool F12, and here let me clear off all this console, and you can see this everything is started loading, right? So first one is constructor, and you don't see the number 2. We will come to that shortly when we take a look at the input and output, but you can see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then followed by again lifecycle hook. So these are the sequence of events that happens when the component is initiated until it is completely done. And when you come out of the component, you see this ng on destroyed is invoked, right? So that's the lifecycle of the component. Now let's add a variable called max price. It's of type number, and let's define that as 10 by default. What we are going to do is we are going to filter the products based on the price. We will have one more variable called filtered products. Okay, so the first product, right, line number 11, is to store whatever we retrieved from the database, and filtered product is something that we will reassign the filtered product. So let's get this also initialized at line number 24. Okay, this is like we are setting the incoming data on both the variables initially. Okay, so we initialized both the variables now. Now what we will do, we'll copy this and go to this HTML page, right? Let's scroll a little bit. All right, so now let's go to the HTML page, replace this product into the filtered product. So anyway, by default, both will have the same value, so there won't be any impact in our application. You can see all the 6 products coming up. Okay, now how do you get this max price from a different component? Because App product list is the component that is being used in the shop component, right? And home component. So now we need to dynamically pass this value from the parent component. So that's when we have something called input decorator. So let me tell you at a high level. If you put @input open brace close parenthesis, and then this is coming under Angular/core, you can see that it's getting added there, right? So the moment you decorate a variable with input, which means this variable becomes an input from a component perspective. So somebody who's using this component, like here line number 167, right, can pass this max price value. So you should remember one thing: if it is an input, you should always open the bracket. Okay, this is like an attribute or attribute assignment, and we are saying max price equal to a variable called price. There is no variable called price in this component. So the moment you declare a price variable that is of type number, the error will go away. Okay, so we will define some static number like 0 as a default number, or some 1 or 10, whatever it is, right? So let's give some initial value which is 100, and see the error went off, right? So remember, input is something that a parent component, in our case it's shop component, using a child component called a product list. So the parent is sending information to the child component. That's when you use the input. Okay, parent to child is called input. Now we will also define a variable here called total products. Total products, why do we need this? If you come all the way through down, there is some number called static number. So I don't want the static number. I want this total product that is displayed on the screen to be the exact count of what we display, right? If we display 6, it has to be 6. That's what the idea is. So now the first step is input, which we have done, right? We are passing this value, and let's take a look at how this input is coming up on the screen. Let me go to the shop, and right now there's nothing because the left side price we haven't utilized this. Okay, so we are going to make this as a input, dynamic input. Now if you remember, we saw about some bindings, right? So there is one binding that we haven't seen called two-way binding. For the two-way binding is the one that we are going to see now. So I'm going to remove this complete div. I don't want this slider stuff and all. Instead, I'm going to use an input element, simple input element, and this is of type number. Okay, generally it is a text, but we can define this input type as different types. So this one is a number, and I'm just defining a class, a default class called the form control that looks that makes the text box looks good. Minimum and the maximum attribute 1 and 5000. I'm saying the user can change up to maximum of 5000, not less than 1 and not more than 5000. Now here's the important piece. For the two-way binding, you should remember this, right? Football in a quote. So bracket and then open the parenthesis, you type ng model, and then you specify a variable. The moment you say ng model, okay, that's when the binding will become a two-way binding. But right now it's showing up error that it is telling it don't know what is ng model. The reason because ng model belongs to a module called form module. So we need to go to this product module and go and import the form module. Okay, so the form module will bring up all of this ng model. So the moment we close the stack, ng model error went off. Okay, so this is called two-way binding. So let me tell you how the two-way binding works. See, initially in the component we specified 100, so this input become 100. Now if I just put here for your understanding, so I'm just going to print whatever is coming for this variable. See, now component is giving 100 as a value, so 100 came. Now I'm changing this on the text box, which means from the UI to component, the price variable is getting updated. That's why you saw the numbers increasing and decreasing. Now this is why it's called two-way binding. Now in this two-way binding, there's another event called ng model change. It's a special type of event specified for the two-way binding. What basically we're saying is, hey, whenever this input is changing, trigger a function. Just let me know that this number changed. Okay, so whenever change is happening, that's when on price change function gets triggered. So there is a function called on price change. This function is called every time this price variable is getting changed, like when you change something on the input. Okay, here we can just specify a log statement, but this is only for understanding purpose. We may or may not use it. But you should remember, to be binding, the value gets changed, but if you want to do some action when the value changes, that's when ng model change function gets invoked. Okay, now all what we're doing is this max price that we are sending now to the lower component, right? We wanted to see what's coming up. See, the 100 is the one which is coming from the parent to the child because we passed, and it's getting printed. You can see in the top, just for the understanding purpose. So if I change, see 100, if I change this, parent is changing some number, the child component is also getting the updated number. See, lively it's getting updated. Now we have the price value. It's time to filter the price value. So let's go to this component where the child component is receiving the number. We will implement an interface, the lifecycle hook called onChange. OnChange is the one, you remember this is an interview question as well. OnChange is the lifecycle hook that gets triggered whenever you see an input decorator on the component. So in this case, max price has an input decorator. Whenever the max price changes, this is the function which gets invoked. Nothing else will get invoked. So if you want to do some action based on the incoming max price change, this is where you need to do. So all what we are doing is we are going and filtering the main product variable to see, okay, get me all the products that is less than or equal to the incoming product. So right now it's 10, there is no products, but anything is 20, so there are 2 products who got filtered. That's when it's getting filtered. If I change more number, the more products are coming. See, so lively, this ng on change function is getting triggered only because of the input. If there is no input on a component, ng on change will never ever trigger. Okay, this is very important. Now, how do we send back some information from child to the parent? That's when the output is coming into picture. So if you decorate a variable with @output, open parenthesis and close parenthesis, this becomes an event emitter. So we are saying the product count changed equal to new event emitter of a particular type. What we wanted to emit, in our case, we wanted to emit a number. Number means, like, after the products are getting filtered, we are trying to emit how many products are there in the filtered product. In our case, number is what we wanted to send it back to the parent, but if you want to send an object, you can still send an object or any other type, doesn't matter. So we put that in onChange whenever the filter is happening, and also in the initial state, because initial state also we wanted to tell how many products are there, right now we don't have that number. Now from child to parent came, but how the parent will recognize this? When you see this is an event emitter. So you remember, everything that is event will always open as a parenthesis. So we are saying product count change, this is the name that you saw in the child component. So we are saying that is the event. Whenever that is getting triggered, emitted, you call a function called product count changed. Okay, very simple. Remember, if it is input, it is a square bracket. If it is an emitter coming from a child to the parent, it is always going to be a parenthesis. Okay, that's when people get confused. So you remember that, and then we are saying, hey, whenever that is happening, call this function, and we know the incoming is a number. That's why I have put in line number 71 as number. Okay, what is the error here? Okay, looks like I've put asterisk instead of a $sign. That is a problem. So I'm going to correct it quickly. It is not hash, it is $sign. Okay, so $event. Now if you go to shop, right now what we get, see, we get 6 because it's getting emitted. And I say change the product, the number got changed. If I change this to some 20, like 2 products, see, 2 is coming. If it increase this number to a 4 products filter, 4 is coming, right? So lively it is getting updated. So input is parent to child, output is child to parent. Child will always emit something. That's always going to be an event emitter. Remember this. Okay, so we have seen all of these concepts. This is very important. You can read through the readme file. By the time you get this code, you'll have a proper readme file, and this is also important concept, so we will be utilizing this also as and when we progress. I hope you enjoyed this video. You learned about input, output, and lifecycle hooks of Angular. And if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this with your friends, and if you have any questions, put it in the comment section, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding!